There's a specific kind of security we feel once we're inside our own bedrooms. It is the one place where we assume we are truly middle of the night alone. When this 19-year-old moved into room 214, he didn't expect much. It was an old college hostel in a new city, cheap, aging, and largely anonymous. His roommate, Daniel, was rarely around, usually spending his nights at a girlfriend's apartment. For the majority of the week, the room belonged to the student alone. Between the building's age and a roommate rarely present, the student lived in a space that was functionally unobserved for days at a time. After the first 2 weeks, things began to shift. A desk chair would be inches from where he left it. The bathroom light would be burning when he returned from class. Sometimes the closet door would be slightly ajar. He didn't think much of it. He assumed Daniel had simply stopped by to grab a change of clothes or use the shower while he was out. This chart explains why he didn't panic. Normalcy bias is a psychological mechanism that filters external anomalies through a lens of rationalization. Instead of seeing a threat, the brain searches for the most mundane explanation possible to maintain a sense of safety. That rationalization held until Daniel eventually mentioned the anomalies himself. He hadn't been in the room at all. He thought his roommate was the one leaving the lights on and the closet door open. They laughed about it, but the conversation meant that both men were now seeing the same irregularities. Because they each assumed the other was responsible, neither of them looked for a third explanation. On a Friday night at 2 a.m., the student woke up thirsty. Daniel was gone for the weekend. As he reached for his water bottle, in the dark, the silence of the room changed. He heard the sound of fabric rubbing against wood. It was a small, soft movement, and it was coming from the corner of the room near the closet. He stopped moving and grabbed his phone, clicking on the flashlight. The beam cut through the dark, landing on the closet door. It was open a few inches. The light moved to the floor, revealing something that couldn't be explained away. A set of muddy footprints. They weren't his, and they weren't Daniel's. The tracks led in a single, clear line directly into the closet. At that moment, the mundane excuses vanished. He was looking at physical evidence that someone else was currently inside the room with him. He walked to the closet and pulled the handle. When the door swung open, the upper half was exactly as he left it, just a row of hanging jackets and shirts. Then he looked down. In the small space beneath the coats, a man was sitting on the floor, curled up in the dark. The man's eyes were wide and terrified. He looked less like a predator and more like someone who was horrified that his hiding spot had finally been compromised. The silence broke instantly. The man lunged out of the closet, shoved the student hard against the wall, and bolted out of the room. He ran down the hallway barefoot and disappeared. The psychological tension of the previous weeks was gone, replaced by a sudden, physical confrontation that left him standing alone in an empty hallway. The police arrived 20 minutes later. While the student waited, they began the process of reviewing the building's security tapes. This diagram shows how the intruder operated. He had been using a broken back exit to bypass the front desk entirely. Once inside, he would navigate the hallways to find rooms that appeared empty. He used those vacant rooms as a base. When he saw the student or Daniel leave for the day, he would move from his staging area into room 214 to sleep and eat. When investigators searched the closet, they found the remnants of his stay: empty water bottles and snack wrappers tucked behind the clothes. Among that trash, they found the most disturbing evidence of all: photographs. The man had been taking pictures of the student while he was asleep in his bed. The student moved out 3 days later, leaving the hostel and the city behind. Even in a new home, the feeling of absolute privacy didn't quite return. It's the kind of experience that changes how you hear the house settle at night, leaving you to wonder if that slight movement in the closet is just the building